here, because he has this great 2-card combo, he can operate pretty well on a 5-card hand, provided he manages to find the interaction. Where it's really going to hurt him is when he draws cards like Progenitor Mimic. If that card is going to, with 5 cards, it's no longer possible to ramp into it.
And so Alldredge is happy, and we are underway here in the quarterfinals of our second Standard Open. As Barich is going to play a Temple Garden untapped, he's going to get out a nice sheet of paper that he's probably been destroying people with. Going to get another life total set up here, and we're going to see either an Experiment 1 or a Giant Militant. Which one's it going to be? It is going to be Experiment numero uno.
Yeah, probably the best the best turn 1 play that his deck can offer.
Yeah. We're going to see a Cavern of Souls here, and that is a very telling thing there, Matthias, if that's your
if that's your first land.
Yep.
Now, what I do see in Alldredge's hand is that I think he has a Nightshade Peddler and an Izzet Staticaster in his hand, but boy, is he going to need some lands, and he's going to need them quick. It's the kind of keep I like, actually.
Yeah, I mean, it has the combo, and you have to be happy with that. And there's a Sulfur Fall, so there's a second land. Kind of stinks that it comes into play tapped, but it's better than no land.
All right, so he's going to have to take a hit here. He's going to get to play a Peddler, take another hit, and hopefully by the next turn he'll be able to make a Staticaster. Otherwise, he'll probably be dead before he can even assemble the combo.
So here's a Voice of Resurgence. That's not going to pump Experiment 1. Is it time for a little Rancor help?
I think it is. Barich's deck does play 2 Rancors, not a full set of them, but he has 1 in his hand. And now his clock is a swing for 6. That puts Alldredge down to 10.
So the damage is coming fast and furious here from Barich. Again, he's going to just pick it up very quickly as Alldredge. So a mulligan to 5 to go along with no lands, unfortunately, for Mr. Alldredge.
Interestingly, Alldredge opted not to play the Peddler there. The next swing wasn't lethal, it was only for 8.
Yep.
Is that a little? I mean, obviously going to 2 against a deck that's sporting 4 Searing Spear, 2 Boral's Charm isn't exactly a great place to be. And even when you assemble the combo, you probably can't stop a lethal swing the next turn. I suppose it's just it's a fine place to concede.
In elimination rounds, the one thing is in elimination rounds when players have access to each other's deck list, you're not hiding any information, so I think that conceding in elimination rounds is a little bit premature. You just play it out. I mean, the matches are untimed. Each player has information on each other's deck list, so conceding there is a little bit hasty, maybe a little bit frustration, but I mean, I would advise against it in the future.
Yeah, typically in a top 8, especially in a top 8 match, I try to avoid concessions. The reason you concede in a Swiss round is because there's a time limit. There is no time limit here, so as long as you're willing to sit out for maybe 5 to 10 minutes of unpleasant magic, there's probably no reason to concede.
Now we're going to cut back to the booth here really quick because it is trivia time in which I'll explain the rules to you and ask you a question. You're in charge on the next one, just so you know.
All right.
It's trivia time, 3 months because we're in the quarterfinals. So what we're going to do is I'm going to ask you a question. You are going to tweet us the answer with the hashtag SCG Premium is the goal. What we will do is we will select one winner of the people who do get the answer correct. Again, it's about accuracy, not speed, and we will give it away at the end of the round.
Right, and so at the end of all the quarterfinal matches.
That's correct. The question I have for you, my friends, is within Aaron Barich's deck list, he does have 2 of a new card in his spell slots. It's a goodie. It's a rare. You take a look at some of the cards here. This spell, that's a 2 of. I'll give you a hint. It makes a creature.
Okay, so it's kind of a spell, kind of a creature.
Yeah, it kind of fixes in between. He's got 2 of those, and if you can name that card, hashtag your answer on Twitter with hashtag of SCG Premium, and again, we will select one of the people who do get it correct and give it away after the conclusion of the quarterfinals.
All right.
It's an easy one to start.
Okay, and it should be. This is the first question.
Yeah, we will get progressively more difficult, or will we? As we take a look at the sideboards here, we'll start with your man over there, Mr. Alldredge, because he's going to be on the play.
Now, Aaron Alldredge's deck, certainly the more interesting one here, with a lot of options in the board. He has a full set of 3 Bonfire of the Damns in the board. Probably an excellent tool against Aaron Barich's deck.
Well, it's Bonfire of the Damned, of course it's good.
So it's going to have Bonfire of the Damned. I mean, especially it's great when you miracle it.
Absolutely.
No, he has a 4th Thragtusk on the board. He has 3 Bonfire of the Damned. He has 2 Garruk Relentlesses. Those cards all great against aggro. The other things in his deck really not well positioned against aggro. What I think he loses from his main deck, he's playing Master Biomancer and Progenitor Mimic. The name of the game here is to survive. He doesn't need these big haymaker late game cards. As long as he casts a Thragtusk and manages to live with it, he's probably in the clear.
Yeah, I agree with you there. He has to know that he's the control deck in this matchup and not the aggressive deck. As you can see under Barich's name, it says Nigh Aggro. It doesn't say Nigh Control.
Right.
So he needs to know that he's the control deck and just survive.
Well, Alldredge's deck has a lot of haymakers in it. It has, the Biomancer, the Mimic, the Hellkite, Thragtusk, and then the Peddler Staticaster combo. And in this matchup, he doesn't need all of those. He only needs one of them to win. It's not like Barich is going to answer the first one. Aaron Barich is racing it, not answering it.
We take a look at Barich's sideboard here really quickly. You see 3 Pacifism, 3 Volcanic Strength, 2 Boros Charm, 2 Ray Revelation, 3 Skullcrack, and 2 copies of Mizium Mortars as this game is going to be underway here, it looks like. Mizium Mortars is going to be the big one that I think comes in because it can break up the combo. Pacifism, Volcanic Strength, arguable if those should come in or not. But
Right.
we'll see what happens.
Well, he does have Boros Charms in the main. I think that card's pretty ineffectual. We'll probably see some of those.
All right, so
Some
we
of
got
those come
Arbor.
out.
Yeah, we got Arbor off the start here for Alldredge.
And Alldredge clearly has sided in Bonfire of the Damned. You know, it's in his opener, not on the top of his deck, so not in the place he wants it to be. But as long as, because of this Farseek here, he's going to have, you know, his double ramp, his Arbor into Farseek, he should be able to Bonfire on 2 early enough to make it really good.
So here's a string of guys that's coming on in. We might even be able to see something that last time we had Alldredge on camera, it didn't happen. We might see actually a turn 3 Thragtusk too.
Right, and you know, despite the fact that his deck is really fancy and does a lot of unique things, it can do the, you know, old tried and true, just casting Thragtusk's plan.
And if we know anything, it's been more than enough to get it done over the course of this format. As you do see a Bonfire of the Damned in the hand there to go along with it.
It's like a pair of Bonfires.
Yeah, we see a Garrick Relentless, a Cavern of Souls, some options here. Thragtusk too, so I think he actually does have the turn 3 Thragtusk draw.
And I can't think of any reason why you wouldn't make a turn 3 Thragtusk. Just more, the thing about Thragtusk, it's just such a powerful card.
You just want to get that online, then Garrick
Soon
can
as possible.
yeah, Garrick can defend that afterward. Or excuse me, Thragtusk can defend Garrick.
Yeah, Thragtusk, not an easy blocker to remove. Aaron agrees, he will jump up to 24 on the Thragtusk.
Well, we'll get confirmation on what is being named with Cavern in just a moment. I wouldn't be surprised if it was Beast or Human for Huntmaster.
Yeah, and he is naming Human for Huntmaster. It's not particularly relevant. Nothing in his deck has lots of multiples of a mana symbol. It's all different colors, so because he has, you know, the lands which he doesn't play, a Breeding Pool, and then 2 red-green lands, he's pretty much in the clear to cast anything.
And so you see Barich now. See, now he's got some work to do because, you know, he does have a Mizium Mortars and 2 copies of Rootbound Crag, but, I mean, he's facing down a turn 3 Thragtusk. That thing is in the way. And here comes Strangleroot, guys. He can't block fast enough, can Alldredge?
Yeah, Barich, I mean, I think he just wants to add the 1/1 counter to his Strangleroot, guys.
Yeah. Which I don't hate.
No, you have to make it relevant at some point. He's going to then cast Luxid on Smiter. The one thing about Aaron Barich's deck is that it does seem a little weak to Thragtusk.
It's probably a little weak to Bonfire the Damned, too. And
Especially when it's Miracle.
yeah, and this Miracle, he has 5 mana, which means Miracle's going to be for 4.
And pretty convenient number right now.
That's not a bad number at all. It's going to clear up that Smiter, it's going to clear up that Strangleroot, guys, provided he does do it for 4, which I can't imagine a reason that he wouldn't.
Yeah,
there we
1, 2,
go.
3, and 4.
Yeah.
It's both of them. A huge Bonfire there. It's very possible that Barich is just not going to be able to come back from that one.
Yeah. I mean, Bonfire the Damned, it can swing a game like no other card can in Standard. That's why it's one of my favorites.
Well, especially in green mirrors, where both people are just amassing armies, a Miracle Bonfire usually is just a Plague Wind.
Yep. So now we're going to see Barich. He plays a Rootbound Crag, and he's going to pass the turn back. So he does have access to Advent of the Worm mana right now. Does not have Restoration Angel in his deck. And again, both players have deck lists, so they know that. And here comes both creatures. So is it going to be time? It is time for a flashing 5/5 Worm.
All right. Well, so the Advent of the Worm, pretty good in this situation. It can eat an Arbor Elf for a mana and actually gives him the ability to trade with half of the Thragtusk. Not sure if that's what he really wants to do, and you know, he doesn't do that. He's going to take his free card and then hopefully make the trade later.
Yeah, and I like this trade a lot, actually. Just take care of that thing. I think he can kind of grind out a singleton Thragtusk. He's kind of, you know, obviously Barich doesn't know that Alldredge has these Bonfires in his hand, because you're going to see a Garrick Relentless now probably chump out a Wolf token. Yeah, so the Wolf token's going to come out here. But again, I mean, Advent of the Worm can just get into that Garrick and trample over that Wolf token to kill it.
Right. Alldredge a little short on follow-up threats here because of Advent of the Worm. You know, he has his Garrick, but as long as, which is going to be destroyed, as long as Barich can take care of the Thragtusk, he has a shot.
Yeah.
I think what he doesn't know is that because of these 2 Bonfires, he's kind of already at 1. These Bonfires will, you know, each of them can deal 2 to his head. You know, with only 5 life, that 2 is a pretty big number.
Alright, so Garrick's going to bite the dust. There's our Wolf token there, so we can replace that die.
Well, Alldredge has to be thinking if he can just get in one of these 2 attackers next turn, he has lethal in his hand.
Yep. So we're going to see it looks like a Voice of Resurgence. There's that.
And a Strangleroot Geist as well.
So some blockers are in the way.
I like how both these blockers are persisting blockers.
Yeah, they're very good against Bonfire the Damned, which Alldredge has 2 copies of in his hand, which is pretty convenient, honestly.
Yeah, these were the only cards really that he could play that would be 2 blockers that are also bonfire proof.
Yep. So now here is going to be a bonfire for 2.
All right, that puts Barich down to 3 life.
Yep. So Voice of Resurgence, String Regress is going to persist. Voice of Resurgence is going to make out that elemental token, which is going to be a 3/3 right now. So there's that.
All right, step 1. So he has 2 blockers. He's going to have to block with both.
Wolf token going to come across 2.
Is he heads up enough to know that he has to block with both of them?
Yeah, how many bonfires is he going to play?
Absolutely.
Okay.
No hesitation.
Yeah, can't block fast enough.
So interestingly enough, Alldredge is short 1 damage right now. Or short 1 land.
Yes. That's the big one. All right, so let's see what Barich draws. Barich draws a card for the turn. It's never a good feeling to have to fade draw steps.
Right, well, he really wants to be swinging with this worm token. Barich has to know that, he knows Alldredge's deck list. He knows there's a lot of ways that Alldredge can sneak over that last 3 damage. There's, first of all, Thundermaw Hellkites, a full set of them.
Yeah, that typically makes it easy.
Yeah, and even the 3rd bonfire. So he is looking, well, we'll see for a second, decides to swing the worm.
And I like this. I think that, you have to try to get this game over with if possible. Here's 4 mana. This is a Gore-Clan Rampager. That's exactly what that is.
All right, so he has a blocker in place. Remember, 1 land gets the game for Alldredge, and it is not a land. Okay. So Barich is spared for a turn.
What was the draw step for the turn?
I want to say it was Thragtusk. I cannot see it, though.
It's hiding it pretty well. It's a
Master Biomancer. I'm very interested in these left-in Master Biomancer in this matchup. It has a really powerful effect, but the fact that it starts as a 2/4 for 4, is a little bit of a liability. Like, just isn't strong enough and immediately.
Yeah.
But as we see, because this matchup is slow and he's at high life total, I think Biomancer will be a great card right now.
Well, Overload says otherwise on Mizium Mortars. So
right.
Barich is going to come in here for 5 plus the other creature.
So for 9, it puts Alldredge to 7. Alldredge needs a land here because he
gets
a land Bonfires for 3,
yep.
And that is lethal.
That was almost one heck of a comeback there by Barich, turning that game around really fast.
Yeah.
These green decks hit hard.
Yeah, no, and that's what's been really impressive about Barich's deck on the weekend. I remember we had the last game we saw him in the Swiss, he kept a hand with nothing but a turn 3 Luxodon Smiter, no plays before it, and both of us thought he must be crazy to keep that. Remember, he untapped, made a turn 4 Advent of the Worm, untapped Rampagered it, and killed his opponent on the spot. And you're like, okay, well, this thing, it hits fast and it hits hard.
Well, he clearly knows what he's doing with his deck then, now doesn't he? Which is pretty impressive. I mean, kind of a tough loss there where he put Alldredge in a situation where he has to actually draw a land and have the 3rd bonfire too. So, I mean, it's a frustrating loss, but I think he did what he needed to do, cut the outs, cut the draw steps, make Alldredge have it, and he did on the last turn.
Yeah, and I really think that looking at that game play out really makes me feel like Barich is favored now. Originally I thought that maybe Alldredge was with his anti-aggro package, but we saw there that Alldredge had a hand which we thought was almost unbeatable, the turn 3 Thragtusk, and he even needed a Miracle Bonfire and a top deck at the end to get the game.
Yeah, and that's really telling, right? Where I feel like a lot of things...
This is your good draw, right?
Yeah, a lot of things went right there, And it was still, he had the top deck to be able to win the game, so that's pretty telling. I agree with you. The one thing that Alldredge has in his favor, again, is the Staticaster Peddler combo.
Well, Alldredge's deck is really neat. The question is whether or not it hits the same power level as something like a Naya aggro deck. And I think, it's doing a lot of powerful things, but it's doing it a little slowly. I think there's the window which... There's this small window where aggro decks can sneak under mid-range decks. I think the window is a little bit bigger on Alldredge's deck than I might have thought at first.
Yeah, I agree with you. All right, quick updates for you guys about our other matches. We have Mr. Mitchum, Jeff Mitchum. He is up a game against Eddie Solis.
Yeah, Jeff Mitchum is the overall #1 seed. He's playing Jund and defeats Eddie Solis' red-green deck in the first game. And we are going to go ahead and start on the matchup.
We also have Venable versus Bugeki still in game 1 as well. So Ban Hexproof versus Jund still in game 1. We'll find out what's going on over there soon enough. See if a creature has a bunch of pants on it or not.
Both these players playing it really at a clip. So we get Aaron Barich with his signature 1-drop on the play. He has Experiment 1 yet again. And no plays from Alldredge. Remember, he does not actually have He has 2 Arbor Elves as his only 1-drops.
Yeah, so maybe it's a Farseek can to catch back up since he's on the draw. No evolution there for the experiment 1.
Actually, no other plays. That's pretty fortunate. Probably means that Barich's hand is going to hit pretty hard.
Mm-hmm. Are we going to see a Farseek? No Farseek either. We do see a turn burn for Aaron Alldredge. So in for 1.
He has a turn burn. The question is whether or not he wants to use the turn burn. He does have an Izzet Staticaster in hand, and because Barich has not played a creature to evolve this experiment 1, Alldredge might think that it's safe to just Staticaster it.
Oh, he is going to cast burn on it and move on.
Yeah, I almost feel like because that experiment 1 wasn't evolved, I would have saved the burn there.
Yeah, I think I'm happy taking the 1 damage because the fuse on turn burn is so good.
Against Advent. I mean, you're pretty soft. You're pretty soft to an Advent token right now. One question is, so he has a Biomancer, his hand is lands, Biomancer, Staticaster, and Bonfire. Do you run out the Staticaster here, or do you get greedy? I mean, Barich hasn't actually done much to threaten you.
I would cast a Staticaster in turn. I just want to get that part of the game over with, get that established, have that threat out there.
So hopefully by turn 5, then we've drawn something else to cast.
Yeah.
All right, that seems fair. You can't actually take free turns. You can't just take do nothing turns against a Naya aggro deck.
Yeah.
Barich definitely representing Advent of the Worm.
He's choosing not to cast that Staticaster.
No, he is getting greedy with the Master Biomancer.
All right, well, there is your Master Biomancer, and we're going to see an Advent of the Worm here for Barich. So 5-5 versus 2-4. We know who wins that
fight. As expected, you have to assume that Barich, with he kept a 7 with an experiment 1 and no ways to evolve it on turn 2 and 3. You've already seen he's a pretty skilled player. You have to assume there's an Advent of the Worm in his opener there.
Yeah, not much of a surprise. I'm with you. And if you take a look at Barich's hand right now as well, there's an additional copy of Advent of the Worm. So he's going to have 10 power real quick here.
Right. If Alldredge can, he has the Izzet Staticaster. I think this game is going to be, can he find the Nightshade Peddler to go with it? I mean, both the Worm tokens do have the same name. If he gets it, it's going to be a complete blowout.
Yeah, pew pew. You see Barich considering his options here, really taking his time on his turns, which I actually like quite a bit.
Can Barich? The one thing is, Barich does know, there's no surprise factor. He knows his opponent's on a Rug Peddler deck. Can he afford to play around the the Peddler Staticaster combo, or is it even possible for him to do so?
Gonna go with Reckoner. I don't really think he can.
So he just has to hope his opponent doesn't have it.
Yeah, and again, there's no Tracker's Instincts or searching for the cards. Nothing like a Birthing Pot or anything like that. It's just luck of the draw. Do you have the 2-card combo or not?
Yeah, it looks like Alldredge is flooding a little bit. I think outside of that Bonfire and Staticaster, he is still on all lands.
And that is the case. You see a couple copies of Cavern to Stomping Ground, Bonfire, and Izzet Staticaster, so not a lot of action.
Interesting enough, he waited a turn on the Staticaster, so now it will get to be a 2-5 when it enters the battlefield. I'm not sure if it's really different as a 2-5 or as a 0-3.
Yeah.
It's almost the same card. Yep, he has 2 Caverns, a Stomping Ground, a Staticaster, and the Bonfire. And in our other match, our backup feature match, that is going to Game 3 as well. Jeff Mitchum versus Eddie Solis in Jund and Red-Green Aggro.
There's a Strangleroot Geist to start the turn here for Barich.
All right, well, that's something the Staticaster can interact with.
Yeah, finally. So this is going to resolve here momentarily for Alldredge.
The thing he has to watch out, remember last time we've seen Barich's deck, not only does it have hard hitters with Smiter, Reckoner, and Advent of the Worm, but has a full 4 Gore Clan Rampagers as a really good combat trick.
Makes blocking difficult, really makes you second guess yourself.
Well, what you have to think he'll do is if a block is made with the Izzet Staticaster, that Barich will expend whatever resource he needs to kill the Staticaster. He knows that the Staticaster Peddler combo is how he's going to lose this game, and he has to do everything he can to stop it from assembling.
Yeah, you just want to cut the turns off as much as you can. Make the game as short as you can, make it so that Alldredge cannot draw to that combo. Also, you want to make it so that he can't draw to large Bonfire of the Damned off the top of his deck.
Right.
So Strangleroot Geist does resolve for Barich, and it's time to get in there with all 3 of the creatures. Here's our Izzet Staticaster that we knew was coming.
It's a 2-5, thanks to Master Biomancer. So interesting enough, like I said, not all that relevant.
Yeah. When you look at the board of a 5-5 with 3-3 Reckoner that you don't have much interest in blocking,
and
here's a double block.
He's going to trade one of them for the Advent of the Worm token. I'm not sure how much I like this play. I think drawing into the combo is kind of what he has to do here, not to mention what Gore Clan Rampager could do to this block.
Yeah, and you're really giving Barich the option to just say, all right, all the damage over the Izzet Staticaster, like that thing just needs to go, because now you need to, again, reassemble the combo.
So due to this block, you assume that the Geist is going to get pinged. So actually, Alldredge is only going down to 11. It looks like Aaron's actually just going to try to answer Alldredge is just going to try to answer all of Barich's creatures.
So,
try to be a more traditional control deck rather than a combo-oriented control deck. And Barich, interestingly, also chooses to bin the Biomancer over the Staticaster. Not too worried about the combo.
And you saw that he had to finish off. He had to finish off the Advent of the Worm with the ping from the Staticaster.
Right. That's why he had to take the hit from the Stranglegeist to go to 9.
Was that another land? That's a
turn
burn. Okay.
That's a pretty good draw here.
That is a pretty good draw.
Because he can turn burn the Reckoner, Barich is actually out of ways to push damage through.
Depending on what's in his hand, because this, again, this is another time where he's represented 4 mana, and we only has 2 copies, and there's the second one.
The second worm in play. And that will be probably is fine for now. Alldredge has drawn the turn burn. I think the turn burn's going to have to be pointed at that worm.
Yeah, I mean, he'd obviously love to shoot the Reckoner and I mean take care of the Reckoner. Excuse me, but I don't think he can.
Well, actually, sorry, he can burn the Reckoner, turn the worm, block the 0/1 worm, then ping the Reckoner for the 3rd point of damage. Get both of them.
Beat me to it.
All right.
You're a speedster.
I was thinking about that. All right. Sorry. I was like, wait a second. Turn burn. You don't have to put both halves at the same thing. Hold on.
Yeah, we've seen it so many times this weekend.
Yeah, I've always thought about it as like, it's this 5 mana, kill anything. But no, it's way better than that. You can split it.
Yeah, so that may have been actually the perfect draw here for Alldredge, and if he notices what he can do here, this is a different game.
There's that moment when you realize both halves of Fuse cards can retarget. I remember even playing Limited with, Armed Dangerous. The first time I realized, wait, I don't have to target the same guy with both halves of this. Suddenly you realize just how versatile these cards are.
Yep.
So I don't think it does not look like Aaron is going to choose that line. So he's going to block the Stranglegeist.
And so Barich is basically saying, yeah, you need to tap all 5 of your mana for the Fuse on that, and let me know which is going where.
All right. So we'll figure out what's happening in a second here. There seems to be a little bit of communication going on between the 2 players.
Yeah.
And I mean, it looks like bad communication from here because we're only seeing cards being moved. Some players, don't move their cards much. They just say things verbally, and I think in that situation that's probably what's going on.
Yeah. So we're going to see how the dust is going to settle here. So we have turn targeting the Advent of the Worm. Burn is being decided on what it's going to go after.
So it looks like he's going to target the worm with turn, and he's going to maybe ping it to finish it off. So he's kind of seeing one of the lines he can make.
Yeah, what can I do with burn is the question.
Right. And we don't know if the Staticaster has actually been declared as a blocker yet.
Yeah.
It looks like it's blocking the Stranglegeist, but that is yet to be confirmed.
Quick update in our other match here. Woodrow Bukaki with Bant Hexproof up a game against Michael Venerable. So, Bant, little Hexproof action.
All right. So, and we have, it looks like it, so the block is made on the Stranglegeist. And burn, we'll figure it out here. We'll be able to figure it out from the damage. Okay, turn on worm, burn on Geist.
Turn on worm.
Burns on the worm is being turned to a 0/1. The Geist is being burned. Don't know where the block is being here.
Yeah. And yeah, the big question is where's the Staticaster going?
Right, so because of that actually, it looks like because the Boros Reckoner was not burned, Alldredge does not have a way actually right now to answer the Boros Reckoner.
Yep. So let's see what the draw step is here. What does it yield? Is it Peddler? That's the big one, right? Is it Peddler is the big question.
Yeah, now that's his 7th land. He now has the option to Bonfire on 3. You have to think he just takes it, right? That's the entire board of Barich.
Bonfire for 3 and then take 3?
I mean, you're going to take damage.
Yeah, you got to get rid of the Reckoner anyway, right? And he did draw Huntmaster of the Fells for the turn. How important is Huntmaster of the Fells now? That's the question he has to ask himself.
There's this danger. So he's at 6. If he casts the Bonfire for 3, he's dropping to 3 life. There are Searing Spears in his opponent's deck.
There are Boros Charms.
There are Boros Charms. You have to think, all right, he's gonna go with the safe route, cast Huntmaster. It's close actually as to which of these is the better play.
Yeah, it really is.
But he jumps up to 8 on that one.
I mean, you'd like to think that you can save that Bonfire, but I mean, the other thing you could do here too is you just go Bonfire for 1, shoot your Stranglegeist, clear that away, leave you with just a Reckoner.
Yeah, that's a fine play too. I mean, the thing is, the Reckoner, because we have to kill it with damage, he's not playing black, you just assume it's going to deal 3 at some point, right?
Yeah.
And if he wants it to go to your dome, that's where it's going to go.
Yeah.
I almost feel like once you resign yourself to that fate, I think you come to the conclusion that you're supposed to Bonfire for 3 there.
Sure.
Because right now, he may even have to chump with the Huntmaster. Like, we're not sure the Huntmaster is going to get to win the game.
Now here's a Rancor.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Right, and I think, you know, there's so many, because it wasn't bonfired, now Barich was given this play, and this play is pretty bad for Alldredge.
Yeah, this forces the action in a big way now.
Right, but the question is, how much damage is Alldredge going to take this turn because of this play?
Yep.
And it may be too much.
Quick update for you guys as we're going to figure out how the combat's going to go. Jess Ballhorn does defeat Brendan Lutzy.
So the winner of this match, there's a red-green deck in the waiting. Remember, red-green was the deck that eliminated Aaron Barich in the top 8 yesterday. He's gonna get a chance at that deck if he wins here in the top 4. Jace Ballhorn and Aaron Barich are 2 undefeated players.
And that means Blue White Red is going to bow out. And I'm a little bit surprised to see Blue White Red get defeated by Red Green Aggro, but Red Green Aggro is capable of draws that can beat anybody.
Right. I mean, its good draws are just so good. We said he was going to have a lot go his way, and you know, 2-1. I feel like the story of that was win game 1, lose game 2, win game 3.
Yep. I think I'm right there with you. So now we're going to see Staticaster ping Experiment 1. It's going to get in front of that Boros Reckoner. Wolf Token's going to get in front of that Strengarroot Geist. Priority's going to get passed both ways.
Okay, so now because he actually loses his Staticaster.
And so now Huntmaster, you are going to die to the Reckoner. Okay.
So everything is dead. Aaron's going to get to he's going to get to kill the Reckoner, but he has no follow-up, so now he's going to have to enter a top deck war.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Did he get is that a bonfire? Is that
That's definitely a bonfire. The damn. I think the question he's asking himself is, how much am I supposed to do this for?
3.
Yeah.
Why would you do it for more than
not
3?
more than that.
Right. I know. You know, and yep, he does it for 3.
He's going to go down to 5 now. So Bonfire off the top is going to take care of that. Cavern of Soul is going to come into play. So we're going to pass a turn. Barich draws a card.
So now
it's a Searing Spear
and another
a second Searing Spear.
Now we'll get it. Aaron Barich defeats Aaron Alldredge 2-1. If he has both those spears in his hand, I don't think it matters which line Alldredge takes. There's, you know, one of them's got to be in his hand already. So if he goes for that bonfire for 3 on that turn, he's going to die to a spear on the untap.
Yeah, because Reckoner is always going to deal 3 points of damage upstairs over to Alldredge. So he's going to go, even though it's at 8, he's going to go down to 5. And that's going to wrap it up. So again, Aaron Barich, the only player this week in a top 8 both of these opens, is going to be moving on to the top 4 with Naya Aggro defeating Aaron Alldredge playing Rug Peddler. A good run for Aaron Alldredge, but was not able to ever assemble the Peddler Staticaster combo. We'll see Naya Aggro moving on against Jace Bellhorn playing Red Green Aggro. So let the beats continue.
Yeah, Aaron Barich continues his, you know, he avenges his top 8 loss yesterday. Now he's going to move into the top 4, and he's going to get that second shot at the Red Green Aggro deck, seeing maybe he can get it this time.
Yeah. The crucial thing there, we saw that game, is we just didn't see the maximization of turn burn on that one turn. You know, when Alldredge did draw turn burn, having the mana to fuse it, that's where everything changed in that game. Because if he's able to use turn burn in such a fashion to get rid of that Reckoner and not take any damage from it, we have a different ball game altogether. Right.